Hello.
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Sigmar.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Warhammer Underworlds box for Rivals of the Mirrored City. But we're just going to do one warband at a time. So there's going to be 4 of these videos. We should say thank you to GW for sending us a copy of this box.
Absolutely.
Now, Pete, you've done your research for this one.
I have.
In this video, you've probably seen from the title, we're talking about Pete's favourite warband.
Skritchy Scratch.
Skritchy Scratch.
I have been looking forward to, and I know we've all been saying this for years, that all of these warbands need a refresh, and now we're going to get it. So we're going to talk about Skritch first. We're not going to talk about every single card, because that's going to be dead boring. We want to try and keep it short and punchy and to the point. We're going to try and run through all the fighters, give you the upsides and downsides of what's changed on them, and then we're just going to try and highlight the cards, the objectives and everything, and just give you the top level, because you'll get the cards yourself and you'll be able to read through every single one, or they'll be on Underworlds DB within the hour.
Very shortly, yes. So tell me about Skritch then, Peter.
So Skritch has had a few changes. He now starts on 2 dodge rather than starting on 1 and inspiring to 2, so that's nice.
A solid change.
Makes him nice and survivable. He also gains Schema, which means he gains Grievous 1 on his attacks if they're assisted, which is quite nice. So his attack has the chance to do 3 damage.
Sort of straight off the bat.
Yes, if you can get the assist in there and the crit.
Thing. Yep.
Inspired, he does lose 1 damage to his weapon, but he does have Schema, which then gives him that potential to get that back again.
He was brutal.
He was 3 damage.
He was brutal,
and he had Cleave.
I mean, in the days of great strength, that was just
horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. And he gains a scything attack as well with his halberd, which when he's inspired also benefits from his Grievous, and it comes with Grievous as well, so he could actually potentially get up to Grievous +2.
Oh, okay, so you can be grievously grievous.
Yeah.
If you've got the support.
Exactly.
Wow. So he's still a bit of a damage dealer in combat.
Yeah, and he still has his Bring Rats Back ability, and they all still inspire exactly the same way.
Who's next? I guess it must be the almost trusted Kirk.
It is. He gets +1 on his range attacker last.
Finally.
I've been saying that for about 6 years.
Yeah, you have every time we play. He is now range 2.
He is, yes. So he gets range 2 finally. And he's got a few other pretty cool little extras with him as well. So otherwise, on his uninspired side, his stats are mostly the same. He has a new rule, which is if Skritch dies, he becomes the leader, which is quite funky. But also, if Skritch dies, he can then pick up 2 cards from your power deck. So just immediate double card draw, which is quite nice.
And there's a reason to go after Kirk first, but if you do go after Kirk first, then Skritch is getting tooled up and
exactly. Skritch is being left alone.
It gives you a problem there.
Yeah. He also gets Schema as well as Skritch, so he gets a +1. He gets Grievous.
So he has a Schema too, and even if he's not the leader.
Yeah, even if he's not the leader, he gets it anyway, which is quite nice. Yeah. When he's inspired, he goes to 2 dodge rather than 2 shields, which is a bit of a shame because he used to be on 2 shields when he inspired. But I can see why they did that, and he doesn't have a shield, so it kind of makes sense they've done that. His attack does remain the same, but if Skritch dies when he's inspired, you draw 3 power cards.
Oh wow!
2.
Okay.
So
what about the minions? See what I did there?
Yeah, I like we've done the minions. They all get the minion keyword on the card as you expect. But Lurky, and we'll talk about him first, he loses the assassin keyword that he used to have in the errata, so he loses that one now.
Long assassin.
Yeah, otherwise he doesn't really change very much, but when he's inspired, he does gain a range 3 2 sword 1 damage attack.
A range 3 attack?
Yeah,
is that what
he gets little throwing darts things.
Okay, so that's interesting. I don't suppose losing the assassin keyword is going to be too much of a...
I don't think so.
Nobody ever uses it anyway, do they?
No, exactly. They've not really leaned into it in any of the decks, so I don't think it's a great loss.
No. Festering Skaven?
Festering Festerson up next. Again, he hasn't really had any changes to himself uninspired. When he is inspired, he does gain Grievous on his wicked daggers, though, so he can maybe do a little extra damage there if you're lucky.
So there's one left, the Hungering Skaven.
Hungering Skaven, yes, he used to be the typical 1 dodge and then 2 dodge when inspired, but now he's just 1 shield, because he does actually have a shield.
So he does have a shield on the model.
Yep.
And now he is 1 shield. He's always 1 shield.
I feel like GW started doing this thing where, like, if the model's holding a shield, they get a shield. They did it with the Sepulchral Guard as well when they re-released.
There is a sort of certain internal logic to that, which makes a lot of sense.
Yes, if someone's holding a shield, they should be rolling shields. Yeah. Other than that, though, he does gain Scything on his attack, both uninspired and inspired, which is quite nice. There used to be an upgrade, Black Hunger, which you would give to him, which would then enable him to basically have Scything, but also hit your own side. Right. So this is just regular old Scything, so you haven't got to worry about hitting your own.
So it's better. So he's better, really.
Yeah.
And he gets that out of the blocks.
Yes, and now that is on his weapon, so obviously he only gets it on his weapon, and if you give him a weapon upgrade, he's not going to get it on that one, so there is the double-edged sword.
Okay.
Throughout all of these, if I haven't mentioned a stat change, the stat hasn't changed, and you can look at your old card and see what the difference is.
Okay, so let's have a talk about the cards now.
Yep.
Starting with the objectives.
Objectives,
Very good
yeah.
place to start.
Yep.
What changes have there been?
For some reason, they decided to rename Skritch is the greatest to I am the greatest. I don't know why they made that change.
Is it because if Kirk score it if he's the leader?
That's a good point. Yes, that is a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. But yes, if Kirk's your leader, then it's just whoever your leader kills. So yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It's a bit of a shame though.
Yeah.
But then I suppose they can't really call it Skritch or Kirk is the greatest.
Skritch and or Kirk, delete as applicable, is the greatest. Yeah, so there is that, yeah. Obviously the deck is now 12 objectives, and there are 6 surge cards, which is good. You get a full legal deck straight out of the blocks.
That is the same for all of the decks in the box.
And all of the warbands, yes. Some of them are very nice, the surge cards. You've got Standing Out, which is basically make a successful attack with a minion, which could be quite easy because you could end up rolling a lot of dice, getting some assists in there. There's also Send in the Next Wave, where you basically just got to have an inspired fighter killed. So you could inspire someone, deliberately leave them out there, and then if someone comes along and kills them, you're like, thank you very much for the glory. And a Brilliant Scheme Plan, which is have 3 fighters inspired alive. So there used to be a version of that, which was a Brilliant Scheme or something like that, where you had score lots of objectives.
Some sort of words next to
it was,
each other.
it was weird. But now they've changed that to just have 3 inspired fighters alive. So
quite easy.
Should be quite easy to score. Goodbye to terrible cards like Feast, which was literally kill everybody on the other side for 3 glory. And things like Live to Fight Another Day, which is only have your leader surviving for 2 glory. Awful cards.
They used to do cards like that all the time,
and
they were always terrible, so it's good to see them going.
Yeah. Of some of the other objectives that caught my eye in there's Bury Them All in Bodies, which is make 2 successful attacks and have 2 fighters still alive for 2 glory, which isn't too hard
Make
to achieve,
2
I think.
attacks in a round.
With
2 fighters.
and have at least 2 fighters surviving at the end of that round as well. So not too hard, considering you can bring rats back.
Yes.
You've also got cards like Against All Odds, which is have at least 2 minions alive and in either no one's or enemy's territory, and that's 2 glory again, considering you can bring them back in your opponent's half. That's pretty easy to achieve, I think. And they've got the speed as well to get across the board. And then there's the Perfect Plan, which is have either an inspired Skritch or an inspired Kirk, and that's 2 glory.
Wow.
That's pretty easy, I think, to achieve.
Yeah.
It's not a bad card to have.
So power cards then, what gambits are they going to be to help you? I'm guessing there's still lots of good choose a fighter cards to help you inspire, because that's what you remember, that's what you need to inspire these things. These guys, if you use one with choose,
that's what inspires them.
Yes.
Yeah, so you still got cards like Musk of Fear, which you can choose a fight to put on guard, and that'll inspire them as well. So it's nice to be able to put them on guard, especially if they're rolling double dodge. That makes them quite hard to kill.
Yes.
Heightened Caution to give everybody a +1 defense in the next activation. Again, nice one to keep people alive. And Nervous Scrabbling, which is a bit better than it used to be, because you used to have to pick one of your fighters and then they could just swap places with someone next to them. So you would inspire one fighter. But now you could pick 2 of your own fighters.
You could choose
and swap them both. You choose them both, and
so
then they will
just
both
like
inspire.
The old Confusion.
Exactly.
The old Confusion used to do both of them. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's a way of inspiring 2 fighters with 1 card, which is very tasty. You've also got things like There Are Always More is still in there, but it's now called Plenty More to bring a Skaven back. It's nice because you can put the fighter on any empty hex now, not just starting hexes in either territory, but any empty hex. But you do then have to give them either a move or a charge token. So
that rule, that mechanic comes up a lot, giving things move and charge tokens after you've done something.
Yeah,
that features quite heavily in the box.
Yes, they've done that a lot more with this and with the other warband I've reviewed as well. So that definitely is something they're leaning more into, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's making it a bit more of a double-edged sword for some of the things, not just automatic choices. Unfortunately, you've lost cards like Scratching in the Shadows, which was a distraction. And Momentary Boldness for a free charge when some of your fighters are all standing next to each other. But there are more movement shenanigans in there, like Swift Skitter to basically enable one of your fighters to make a move straight away, and Cautious Skitter to push all of your friendly minions towards enemy fighters just to get that extra move.
I assume that one's not choosing anybody.
Unfortunately not, it's just all minions can move. So actually just go, I'm going to inspire all of my minions at once. Hurrah!
Upgrades then? Is Expendable still in the game?
Expendable is not. It is dead, unfortunately. It is now replaced with Completely Expendable.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's not better.
Oh.
It's basically the same thing, but they've reworded it to feature with the new wording of rules, so they basically are worth no glory when you take them off, and they don't do the damage now either, and the card breaks once they're killed, so you only get 1 use out of it, Whereas before, he used to stay there forever.
Okay, it was broken.
It was a very broken card.
To give rise to some broken decks over the years.
It did. It very much did.
Okay.
There's also no Black Hunger to give the Hungering Skaven the ability to use Scything, but
he's got that anyway.
He does have Scything, but you used to give that Black Hunger with Hero Slayer, the one hammer 4 damage thing. Run in and be like, I'm going to hit everybody, and I'm bound to kill somebody. So you can't do that now. But again, it was quite broken. There's
a card called Browbeater.
There is a card called Browbeater, and this is an upgrade that can go on Kirk or the minions, but it can't go on Skritch, and it effectively gives them the same ability that Skritch had to bring back minions. If it's
as
Kirk,
an action?
Yeah, as an action. So it's an action, and they can bring back a Skaven, and they can put them on any hex, any empty hex, like before. If it's Kirk who has it, then he can just do it with every activation. If it's one of the minions, then they get a charge token, so they can't do it as much with as much abandon. But it's nice to know that if Skritch is dead, you're not suddenly absolutely stuffed when it comes to your battle plan. You've got other ways to bring stuff back.
If you've got one guy now, you could suddenly have 2.
Exactly, and if it's Kirk, you could bring all your minions back, really. So Kirk is now, sometimes worth
trusted
keeping
a little more.
A little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Got any blades?
Got any blades? Any blades? Yeah. The Festering Blade is now the Chaos Tainted Blade. It's the same artwork on both. But the Chaos.
What's the point with that? Festering is better.
I think so, but
it's more Skaven-y.
It was more Skaven. I think they should have kept the Festering Blade and just changed it. But it's now a range 1 3-sword, 2 damage attack, but it has cleave and ensnare, and after the deal damage step, it does another damage.
That is sick.
The old one was basically a Grievous plus 2 Grievous.
Right.
Which was, if you roll a crit, it could have been nice. Scary. But this gives you a much more guaranteed attack.
3 swords, which is pretty accurate, 3 swords. 2 damage.
Yeah.
And you've got cleave and ensnare making it even more accurate.
Yeah. And you do another damage after the deal damage step. So 3, it's a nasty card.
That is horrible.
I feel like putting that one onto anybody and just rocketing them across the board to snipe someone off is a very, very valid tactic. You've also got the Rusty Shurikens, which replaces the throwing stars from before. It's now a range 3, 2 hammer, 1 damage attack, but it has Grievous on it. And you get some nice survivability cards in there, like Ruthless Dodger. I don't know if he took any leaves out of the Artful Dodger's book at all, which means that if that fighter who has Ruthless Dodger is targeted, after you work out if the attack is successful, you can just take another minion within 2 hexes off instead.
Okay.
So it keeps them alive, but breaks again after it triggers.
Right.
So
there's a similar card in the Claw Pack, I think.
I think there is, where you can target a minion instead of the person being attacked. So it's nice to see that kind of elements in there, so you can keep your Kirk or your Skritch alive.
And it's fitting, isn't it? Because they would just throw their fodder in front of
absolutely every time. And then you've still got Sneaky Stab in there, which enables you to do a push of 1 before you make an attack action. And you've still got Skitter Scurry as well. That remains, but it's now worded very specifically, because Skitter Scurry used to be you could push them a hex before every action, and if you did something like a Scything attack, which was like multiple attack actions, you could keep moving him and hitting and moving and hitting, whereas now it basically says you can only use it once in an activation. So if you use it as part of a super action, you only can use it once. Okay.
So in summary then, I assume you think they're rubbish and you don't ever want to play them?
I'm really looking forward to playing Skritch now. I always look forward to playing Skritch, but I just knew I was going to lose horribly, whereas now I feel like the rats are back in town. They feel like they've been given a nice boost. They've lost some very nice cards, but as we've said, they were all quite broken. But what they now have in place of that, I think, offsets those losses and makes the whole warband feel more Skaven-y. It takes some of the focus off of just Skritch, because that used to be the thing before. It was all about the main man, and if everybody else was dead, you were okay, but the minute he died, you had that in trouble.
The odd game where it'd be like, I'd charge in Severin with +1 or something, and like, if I hit this, Skritch is dead, then I've won the game.
We might as well just flip the boards and give up.
But if I miss, then Skritch is just going to basically put me in the blender.
It's just going to be not a pretty sight. So I feel like losing Skritch, especially with Kirk's ability to draw cards, definitely gives you a little bit more chance in that situation, and the ability with Kirk to be able to bring other people back with that upgrade means you've got a few more options in there. So I think overall they've just helped round the warband out a little bit more, and obviously with 12 objectives now and 6 surge cards, they've got more options.
Yeah, I think that's a general theme of this box.
Definitely.
Everything's more rounded, bit more tightly designed.
Yeah.
I'm going to be saying that a lot in these 3-4 videos, or
Yeah.
the 3 other videos and this one. So do go check those ones out.
Yep.
Do like and subscribe so you can see when all our other new content, because we haven't played any games with these yet, but we will be soon.
Yes.
And if you do want to consider supporting on Patreon, you can check out the link in the comments to come and have a look and support us. Every penny gets ploughed back into the channel or our competitions in some way or other.
Absolutely. So we'll see you soon, maybe in the Shade Spire.
Bye!